Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, welcome to the Investor Show. As y'all can see, we got a very special episode here where the Dow Jones has gotten into the financial literacy space and came up with free tools to give everybody. So free tools out there. So I had to reach out to the Dow Jones and learn about their smart money tools and to sit down with one of their creators that brought this in. So today we're going to do a walkthrough of all the free tools that the Dow Jones has for financial literacy. Everything from car buying to credit to banking to investing. A plethora of tools that can be used by schools. You can use at home. You can do all these other things. So when the Dow Jones reached out not too long ago and said, "Hey, we want to do something with financial literacy," and I said, "Of course." So I had the opportunity to go to the Dow Jones headquarters up in New York City a couple months ago and meet some of the great people and what they were doing. So I definitely want to bring this resource and tool out there because and it's free. It's a free tool. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring on our guest today, Mr. Joe Lanza. How you doing?
I am doing good, Prince. Thanks for having me on today.
Awesome. As soon as I get this thing together, there we go. Yeah, thanks for being on. And Joe, you're out in New Jersey, right?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Now you sit down. Give us a little bit of background on yourself. How do you come up with the Dow Jones Smart Money Initiative and doing this, with the Dow Jones?
Sure. So really the genesis of us developing Smart Money financial literacy proficiency site was really the brainchild of our CEO, Almar Latour. And I had worked with Almar for many, many years over my career at Barron's and at Dow Jones overall. And I was semi-retired, and he reached out to me about a year and a half ago, and he said, "Look, I'd love to do something for financial literacy where there is no charge, there's no advertising, and it's being made available to the general public to aid sort of the crisis that we have in our country around financial literacy." And so I couldn't have been more excited to be sort of out of retirement, so to speak, and working with a great team out Dow Jones to actually build out this site in record time. From the concept to the launch was about 4.5 months, which, as you can appreciate, in creating a brand new website is pretty short order in terms of time. And that was really, really something we were very, very proud of and remain proud of. But I think really if you take a step back for a minute and you think about, sort of why this is so important, America, as we all know, is the richest country in the world. And yet only half the states in America actually require high school students to take personal finance. And I'm talking about even one marking period in order to earn their diploma, which is sort of started when you think about the fact that students during high school can take other selective courses such as wood shop or metal shop or sewing, and they can get a diploma, but they don't have to take financial literacy, which of course is, what we all endeavor in life to, get good grades, either learn a trade or go to higher education, get a great job, earn money, and then what, right? And, other couple quick stats for you, Prince, and I'm sure you probably have heard or know a lot of these, but for the audience, 63% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck in the richest country in the world. 73% of American adults rank finances as their primary stressor in life. And only 25% of American teens have confidence in their personal finance knowledge. Saying that differently, that means 75% of American teens are not comfortable in their knowledge of financial matters. That's pretty staggering, again, for the richest, country in the world. So those were all the reasons I think that we decided, it was our obligation, if you will, knowing that we've got premium products that are subscription based, like the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, and Market Watch and others, Investors Business Daily, that we wanted something that did not require a subscription and could help those most to get their arms around financial topics, financial literacy, and gain financial proficiency. And that's really what we're all about in the site of Dow Jones Smart Money.
Okay. Well, I have the site pulled up here, and I want to walk through some of these tools you have here. And, for the audience out there, you got everything here from personal finance, budgeting, debt, credit card, credit scores, how to pay for college, cars, housing, insurance, retirement, investing, stock market, type of investments. You got money budgeting, you got articles, you got tools on here. So walk us through some of the great stuff you got. You got some video, some play.
Yeah.
So let us know what you got going on.
Sure. No shortage, as you're pointing out, of information to really get a grasp on. So what we tried to do on the page that you're on right now, really kind of organize the information into what we call sort of these big bucket ideas, right? So, within personal finance, as you're pointing out, you've got several topics that really sort of fit that mold. And then if you scroll down a little bit for me, Prince, you've got what we kind of call big decisions, right? So this is your how to pay for college. This is all about car buying versus leasing, housing, renting versus buying, right? Types of insurance, and, retirement. And then the last sort of broad bucket that we've created is really about investing. And so, the obvious question is, so why should I start investing and when? What is the stock market anyway? And what are all the various types of investments across the spectrum of investing? And so by just, going into each one of these topics, you can really start to begin to educate yourself in detail about how these can affect the decisions that you're going to be making in not only your life, but in terms of your income, your finances, your asset allocation, your bills, your credit cards, all that sort of stuff. And then down the right-hand side, we just have a menu as well, and sort of another way to get to the information. If there's a particular topic directly that you want to go to, you can click there straight away. And then from a sort of organizational point of view, if you go to the very top for me, you'll see that there are various tabs across the top. So under videos, as you would imagine, we have several different types of videos, one of which is, how to really learn about the stock market, as an example. And, there's 10 different short pieces or steps that you can walk through at your leisure. You don't have to watch all of them at the same time, which is the beauty of it. And then you can see all the topics that make up these 10 videos, whether it's types of insurance, retirement, et cetera, et cetera. And then if you go back to the top again across the nav, you'll see other areas that you can focus on as well. So we've really tried to design the overall layout to be very, very user-friendly. So if you look at challenges as an example, if you click on that for a moment for me, what the end user can take advantage of is different types of newsletters that we have, and it's all free. And you just would have to sign up, obviously, for any of the ones that you're interested in. And as an example, this one here, the Money Challenge, is a series of 6-week email courses, if you will. So each week in your inbox will be a new learning opportunity in terms of personal finance. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that there's another opportunity to really focus more on start trading stocks in 3 days. And this is from one of our vertical companies, Investors Business Daily. And there you'll get an email 3 days in a row, and it'll walk you through the highlights. And then Wall Street Investing Challenge is a 5-part email series that over a period of each week for 5 weeks, you'll get an email. And again, another learning opportunity in terms of how to think about investing and how to best invest. So that's all part of that, one navigation, if you will, across the top. If you go back up there for me again, we'll just pick another one. Let's pick events. So under events, these are opportunities where you can join live sessions. So for instance, the very first one you see is Barron's Live. That's part of the Dow Jones family, as most people know. And every Monday at noontime, there's an opportunity where we have folks from Wall Street joining our journalists talking about various topics within the investing and financial community. And you can participate in that. And, there's no fee or charge or subscription required for that, or frankly, anything that we've gone through or will go through, during this session. So a couple ones I'd like to just maybe highlight. We won't go through them all in the spirit of time, Prince. Is over to the right in the navigation. If you can go about 3/4 of the way down, you'll see the calculators right below types of insurance.
And right below types of right. Oh, right. Calculators. Okay.
On the far right. Yep, right there. You got it. Calculators. And
Nice.
so what we've done here is we've assembled from a third party, calculator.net, really the most popular, if you will, financial calculators that an individual would probably want to use in their daily lives, whether that's a mortgage calculator, if you're taking out a new mortgage. Obviously, you can see all the others there. There's amortization calculators, which are useful if you're trying to figure out, if I were to prepay a mortgage, what would that look like? There's a CD calculator. If I take out a 2-year CD at 5%, how much annual interest would I get, including compounding? So let's just pick one of them. Why don't we go to the mortgage calculator?
Mortgage calculator. Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
And so here's an area where if you're thinking about buying a home, you could actually type in, and this one's already pre-populated, which is great. So in this example, someone's considering a home at $400,000. They want to put down 20%, which would equate to $80,000. Their loan term, their borrowing term is going to be a 30-year mortgage. And the assumed interest rate, which is probably fairly close to where things are now, maybe a little bit lower, but it's 6.625%. It would be starting March of 2025. And here they put in some property taxes. They put in some other costs that you can see. They put in home insurance. Most importantly, over to the right now, you can see the implications on that $400,000 home, putting down $80,000 as a deposit or down payment. Your monthly payments would be $2,049 every month for 30 years. Okay. And then if you're curious to see what the breakdown of that is, it's right there, below. So you can see how all the math is going to work. So it's really helpful, really useful. And the fact that you can change any of these fields on the fly makes it very, very easy to do any what-if analysis. So if you were going to say, well, you know what, maybe I can afford a little bit more a month. What if I bought a $500,000 house? You would just simply plug that in to the 500, the 400,000, overwrite it, put in 500, hit the enter or return button, or calculate in this case, and boom. So it's got almost a $500 a month impact on how much more you would have to pay for 30 years each and every month just by changing the home value from 400,000 to 500,000. So very, very useful tool. Again, we won't go through all the calculators, but all of them are laid out very simple like this, whether it's your CD calculator, whether it's the mortgage calculator, the amortization calculator. And so these are really, really easy to use, but very, very useful. And you don't need an investment banker. You don't need your banker to help you. You can run all this on yourself, by yourself at home, at the office, at no charge.
Nice. So you got mortgage calculators tell you how much you can make with your mortgage. Let's go back here.
Yep. Go back one more.
Yeah. So you got here with your CDs, retirement calculator. You can, 401k calculator. Let's see what the 401k calculator looks like. So it tells you how old you are, your current salary, how much you currently have, how much you're contributing, how much your employer is matching. Okay. And how your life expectancy. So pretty much so you don't run out of money.
Yep. Yeah.
So you can put it to where you could, hey, inflation, your annualized return off of your salary is going to increase. And you can see, how much you need. That's a great tool. So these are great tools you got here too.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is all these are free to people because so many things people purchase, like, hey, we're going to sell you a course to show you how to do X, Y, Z. These are tools that you can take, let's see what you got here up on the play.
Yep. So on the play are a series of different videos.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all I'm sorry, play is actually the various games that we've created to make learning even a little more fun, a little bit more challenging in terms of competition. So the first one is what's called the virtual stock exchange. And you literally start with $1 million portfolio that you select the assets for. And you can really sit there and trade just like you would online. And the format is structured to look very, very much like the trade blotter would on, say, Fidelity or Schwab, where you place an actual trade. You can place it at the market. You can place it at a fixed price. And then over, each day it'll update and you can see how you're doing relative to where you started. Now, this is used in a lot of classrooms around the country where a teacher or a professor will actually build the game and decide, can you use options? Is it stocks only? Can you day trade or not day trade? And the idea is during the marking period or semester, each student is buying and selling, their investments. And then at the end of that period, you can see who performed best within, if it's a class or it could be a club, or frankly, we even have some people at the company that started, their own sort of club internally. And the winner each quarter, goes out and buys pizza or some sort of drinks. And it's a way to really hone your skills and do it with play money rather than real money. And then once you're obviously comfortable with your investment knowledge, you can move on to actual real investing, but you can do it safely, and you can do it with an educated mind as to what do you know now and what still don't you know, and make sure that you're not learning with real money, which, can be dangerous, right? The next one right below it is a third-party partnership that we had with a firm who also is doing a lot of work in financial proficiency and literacy. And that game is called Bummer. And basically, it's a game that shows you how different types of insurance can actually help you in life, and sometimes maybe not really be what you thought it was going to do for you. And then the last one here at the moment is Shady Sam Loan Shark, and that's all about borrowing and the effects of interest on your money that you're borrowing, and all different ways to think about the best way of finding the best rates and what some of the downfalls can be once you start borrowing money, whether it's from, a financial institution or on a margin in your brokerage account, or all different ways that that folks can borrow.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to one more that is an example on the right-hand side. And let's go to insurance on the right-hand side in green. Just click on the types of insurance.
Types of
Yep.
insurances, okay.
Now, this is an awesome topic, and I think we probably have, I believe at least, in working with our team, one of the most robust types of insurance available on a free website that any of us have found. And so as you scroll down, you will see that most of us are familiar with car insurance, but we go into detail about the different types of insurance within car insurance, and that is things like bodily injury or property damage. And we explain very easily what each one of those are. So when your insurance agent asks you, about the types of coverage and how much you want of these, you have a resource to understand what is it they're asking me, and what is this actual bodily injury cover as opposed to property damage. And so you get a really good understanding of insurance. But if you keep scrolling down, there is almost no shortage of types of different, not only car insurance, but different types of insurance across homeowners. So if you have a home, you're going to need homeowners insurance to protect your assets against fire, water, theft. If you're renting, you also would want insurance because your possessions are in your condominium or your rental property or your apartment. And so you've got to be in the know as to what types of renters insurance are available. How does that work? And what questions do I need to ask? So scroll down some more for me, Prince. And we won't go through all of them, but you can see, okay, so now if you're at work or even if you're not at work, you have to think about health insurance. What type of health insurance plans are being made available to me either through my employment or outside my employment? And what are all the different types? Are HMOs and preferred providers and all these different terms that can seem a little bit, sort of hard to understand. We break down to you in very easy, understandable English, which is helpful. And then keep scrolling for me.
Okay. Got life insurance on here.
Yep. So we've got
Travel
life insurance. We actually have annuities. So some of you have heard about annuities. Wow. They are a type of, believe it or not, because they're provided through insurance companies. They are technically a type of insurance. However, sometimes they look like a CD, but the CD in terms of an annuity is not backed by FDIC like a CD at a bank would be, but it's backed by the full faith and credit of the insurance company. So you're going to want to know about the credit worthiness of that insurance company you're taking that out with. But the state, in all 50 states, there is an insurance pool. And what that basically means is that to do business in the insurance business within any state in the country, the state actually has a fund that is contributed to by the insurance companies that are allowed to do business in the state. And so that pool of money that's contributed acts like a backstop. So if you have an annuity at a particular insurance company and that insurance company were to fall on hard times and go under, you wouldn't necessarily be out all of your money. You would basically be protected up to a certain amount of money through the state insurance fund. So this is all the type of information that we have available at no charge throughout the entire site. And it's really something that's important to us because we believe that every individual has a right to understand and to really be enjoying their life, enjoying their lifestyle, not be stressed. As you heard earlier, one of the number one stressors of individuals is money. And if we can alleviate that and we can make our country stronger and more financially proficient, it's a win-win-win.
That's true. Nice. And a school teacher could use this. I wonder what you got up in here up on the resources.
Absolutely. So we actually have a Q&A against this entire site that we have some schools using. So for instance, if you're a teacher teaching financial literacy, you could basically use our questions that we provide to the teachers. And at that point, you could say to your students, okay, I want you by Wednesday to read the sections on the different types of insurance, as well as the different types of investments, and go through these sections online. And there'll be a quiz on Wednesday. And we know teachers and respect teachers are, in a lot of different activities, whether it's grading or frankly, even coming up with their own sort of exams and tests. So we wanted to do the heavy lifting there. And so we do have, against every one of these sections on the right-hand side in green, we have 5 questions that can be asked by the professor or teacher to the students once they have had the time to go through those particular sections. Okay. The other thing I would point out is that on the site, there are ways to contact the folks at our company. So if you, scroll down at the bottom of the page, the very bottom of the page.
Contact us.
Yep. And that'll bring up, a contact, there's the email right there. And so you can email us. And if it's a question on any of the content, if it's a question on if you're a teacher, where can I find the questions? Or if there's something you want to contribute to the site, some of this content you're seeing through resources is not from Dow Jones. It's from third-party partners that share the same vision as we do in terms of financial proficiency and literacy, and, have joined us in this quest.
Now, what is the age group?
So we've written it's a great question, Prince. And so what I like to say is there really is no particular, denoted age range, meaning it's not for 16 through 30. My dad just turned 90, and, he is not exactly, I would say the strongest in terms of financial proficiency. And so he has been, using this as a resource to help his learning. And we actually have people in, I would say, even as early as 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Probably the content is not quite for, somebody in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, but there is no constraint from our point of view. It is up on the public internet. There is no, subscription required, and there is no email required unless you self-select that you want to get, the newsletters. But if you don't want to share your email, there's nothing, on this site other than, obviously the newsletters that would require an email. We don't ask you any questions about yourself. We're not looking to advertise any other products. This is all really about bringing, a great resource with a multitude of opportunities to learn, at no cost from Dow Jones.
Nice. This is great. Awesome resources here. I mean, you have everything here. Of course, I got to get the Wesley Learns cartoon on here, animation series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also Dow Jones. It's not Dragon Ball Z, but it's good content to say.
I'm sure.
So, I'll definitely be reaching out behind that. But definitely, this is a great resource that parents have, and school teachers and community organizers, even ourselves with our foundation, what we do, we go out, we always pass it out as well.
Yeah.
It's coming from the Dow Jones, one of the most historical, or the most historical index that we have today. And to come back and say, hey, this is what we want to do. I mean, I think it's a great resource, a great free resource to everybody that's around there. Where school teachers could learn, middle school teachers can learn, things like that. So, yeah. So actually, we get ready. April is Financial Literacy Month, National Financial Literacy Month, and on my stops, I will be bringing this up and utilizing these tools in classrooms.
Yeah, and we thought long and hard about the name, right? And the URL. If you forget about everything, it's very easy, right? So it's just www.smartmoney.com. I mean, smart money, you can't get any easier than that in terms of remembering, the website address. We're excited about it. We continue to enhance it. So do come back to it frequently. You will see updates. You will see new sections. You will see new videos. You'll see new challenges up there. You'll see events. Here's what I do want to show you. And then if you go to events for me.
All right.
And then you scroll to the Operation Hope section.
Oh, yeah, Operation Hope.
Okay, right here. And then go right there, view events. Now, Operation Hope has several hundred folks that are part of their nonprofit organization that actually visit banks and brokerage houses around the country and do free live events for people who are local to come in and learn about different topics. So if you click on view events for me.
1 second here. We're on to another. I need to pull up another.
So as you're doing that, as I was mentioning, they have these workshop sessions throughout the country, and you can sort them based on state, and then it'll actually show you what dates in what cities all those local people are going to be at the branches and the brokerage homes near you and what the topic is. And you can register and literally either get in your car and drive a couple minutes, or you can walk down the street in some cases. I had typed one in a couple months ago by me and was surprised that right in my town, there was going to be a session at the Bank of America less than a mile away from my home. So, these are updated, throughout the year, and these are also free. So, if you happen to be in one of these cities and there's a topic of interest, you can go ahead and register, go to that location at that time and join some of your neighbors and others that are interested in the same topic, and get a whole bunch of knowledge.
Nice. Yep, it's right here. I just typed in Colorado here, where I'm located. But yeah, you're right. You
can filter it also. So you can filter it by the workshop type. So if you hit the down arrow, you can say, oh, okay, so I've got these types of, there's a HUD one, there's a business development program, small business workshop, credit and money management if you want to learn more about credit, and some of the things that we do have on our site. So it really is a great added value to our site that has all these different live events around the country all throughout the year.
Nice. Okay. Well, they just go in and teach. Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, I would encourage everybody who's watching this, spend some time going through the different tabs across the top. Spend some time going through, the topics that most interest you. And, you will find this to be a really, really, really tremendous resource. And you can spend, hours and hours and hours, or as much time as you'd like over weeks, months, years, because, the calculators alone add a lot of value to your daily decisions about borrowing, spending, planning. Isn't it better to know how much money you have to set aside for retirement when you're 25 or 30 and understand how much money you'll have in 65, rather than waking up like somebody like me at 60 now and realizing that I've either done really good planning, or maybe I didn't contribute enough and I don't have as much time on my side as people that are younger. And so calculators like that become so invaluable to people, because if you're only putting away 200 and you've got the power of compounding working for you for 30 years, just by putting another $100 or $200 a month, you'd be shocked at how much of a difference that makes over 30 years.
That's very true.
And to quote, I think it was Albert Einstein said that the eighth wonder of the world is compounding.
Compound interest.
Yep. And Warren Buffett and others have often preached that. There's a great story about Warren Buffett one time. Somebody was debating whether to buy a coffee or not. And in these days, it would be Starbucks. And apparently he looked at the person and said, do you have any idea what that cup of coffee at $5.90 would be worth 30 years from now if you made it at home?
Wow. Yeah. That's a very good,
Everything adds up. Every little thing you do compounded over 30 years becomes a much, much bigger number. And what seems like just a couple dollars here, $8 here, $7 at Starbucks, $5 in the afternoon, really challenge yourself on a monthly basis as to stuff you could cut out and save, and then use those calculators to compound that money over 30 years. And it'll give you added incentive to want to really budget and really do the right thing.
Wow. Okay. Well, as always, Joe, definitely great resources out there for people to go through, get a walkthrough, play with this free resource, the Dow Jones Smart Money. If you're, with my son, he's 14 now. When he gets to that age to where a little bit more, when he matures up a little bit more, I'm going to have him looking into those things too. So definitely look into it. Definitely use the resource. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, I would just say we'd love your feedback. So if there's anything that you can think of, either a topic of interest that you think would help people, let us know. If it's something within one of the existing categories that you have a question on, feel free to write it in, and folks will get back to you pretty quickly. And again, just thank you to everybody at Dow Jones that joined me and the team in putting this together, and to our Chief Executive Officer Amal Latour, who had the thought process to want to do this, in addition to all the other valued properties that we have at Dow Jones.
Awesome. All right. Well, Joe, thank you. And 1 second here. For everybody that's out there, until the next video, podcast, cartoon, or whatever else crazy you see me doing around the globe, my name is Prince Dykes. This is the Investor Show.